We begin today the Gemara on Daf Kuvava Amud Beis, about 15 lines up from the bottom of the Amud, where it says V'Amar Abchia Barabba. Here the Gemara is bringing different halachas regarding a person that has a pekadon in his possession, and then he denies it, or he swears falsely even about it. What the halachas are. V'Amar Abchia Barabba, Amar Rab Yechanan, Hatoyin Tainas Ganev Ba'aveda. A person that has a lost object in his possession that he has to return to its owner, and the owner comes to him and asks him where it is, and he says, it got stolen from me. And then it turns out that he has it himself. He stole it. Mishalim tashlumi kefil. The halacha of paying kefil applies in this case as well. My timer, what's the source of this? Because in the pasuk where it speaks about paying kefil, it says, Al kol aveda, asher yoimar. So it mentions an aveda, when you deny this aveda, this lost object, so you pay kefil as well. So he asked him from what it says in the Braisa. The Braisa says like this: Kiyitein ish. If a person, ish gives a pekadon for someone to hold on for him. So from the term ish, we learn out ein nesinas katan klum. If a child gives you to hold on a pekadon, the halachas that say here in the pasuk do not apply. Only applies if it's a ish, if it's a gadol. You would think, since the pasuk says kiyitein, that it's only if he gave it when he's a katan, and v'tave kishu katan. And then when he comes to demand to ask back for his pekadon, and he's still a katan, then you'll be potter from all the halachas that the pasuk here says. But nasnei kishu katan, if he gave you this pekadon when he's a katan, v'tave kishu gadol, and when he comes to ask it back from you, he's already a gadol at this point. Minayin. How do I know that still the halachas that the pasuk here says regarding swearing and all the different things still don't apply? Talmud Loimar, the pasuk here says, Ad ha'lekim yovei dvar shneim. You bring to Bezdin dvar shneim, the words of both of them. Shneim is what the mafkid says, that I gave it to you, and the nifkat says, I don't have it. So in other words, in this word shneim, the pasuk includes the beginning of the story, that it was given to you, and the end of the story, what you claim now that you don't have it. You only chayiv if at the time when he gave it to you, and at the time when he's coming to collect it from you, he's a gadol. But if he's a katan, when he gave it to you, even though now he's a gadol, the halachas of the pasuk do not apply here. Now, the Gemara asks on this, if the halacha that Rabbi Yechanan said, that when you find an aveda, and then you deny it, so the halacha that the pasuk here says, the kefil does apply, if so, to have an amik aveda. Even if this katan is not someone that we could pay attention to at all. He's just a katan. He's not included in the pasuk because it says ish. But why should it be any worse or any less than an aveda? By an aveda, there is no one here. You just found it yourself. And nevertheless, now, when the owner of the aveda comes and asks it for you and you deny it, you do have to pay kefil. So even if when he gave it to you was a katan, let's at least consider it just like you found something. And now, later he's a gadol and he comes, he asks you for it. And if you deny it, you should be chayav to pay kefil. What's the difference? So the case over here is, this person, he ate it. He already consumed it when this child that gave it to him was still a katan. So therefore, he both got it when he was a katan, and he already consumed it when he was a katan. So the whole demand regarding what he did over here is all when he's a katan. Therefore, it doesn't apply. Says the Gemara, so what does that mean? Avol keshehu gadol, but if when he came and he asked it from you, so then he would be a gadol, or if he ate it when he was a gadol, what would be the halacha? Hachanami de mishalim? Would the halacha then be that you would have to pay for this because of the svara that we just said before, that it should be no less than an aveda that you got? If so, what does it say in the Braisa? Why does it say in the Braisa that you're only going to be chayiv if when he gave it to you and when he came to collect it, it's the same. Meaning in both cases he's already a gadol. But according to the way you're explaining this Braisa, listening, it should say that it doesn't matter if when he gave it to you he was a katan. Because in that case, it can be similar to an aveda, that you just got it on your own, you found it. But the main point is that when you consumed it, you ate it for yourself, and then he comes to collect it from you, and you deny that, so then you should be chayiv, because as we just said, as long as when you consumed it, you ate it, you were already a gadol, you should be chayiv for this. So, but it's not what the Braisa says. The Braisa says, Nesina and Tviyah, from when he gave it to you to the time when he comes to collect it. Amalei, so he answered and said, you're right, you have to change the words of the Braise. Tni, you have to learn the Braise. Achetehei, achile, otvie, shavin kechod. Even though he gave it to you, he gave you this pekadon as a cotton, but as long as if when you ate it yourself, and now he comes to ask you for it, you deny it, and then it turns out that the Adam came and say that you ate it, and so you're going to be chayiv to pay the kefil for this, because at this point when you ate it, he was already a gadol, and when he's coming to collect it, he's already a gadol. Ravashi disagrees with the whole premise of this discussion here. The Gemara was comparing when a person found an aveda to a person that got this pekadon from a cotton. The Gemara said it should be no less. It should be the same thing. But Ravashi says it's not the same thing. Loi dami, you can't compare them. Why? Aveda ka'asim koyach pendas. When you find a lost object, so true, you found it. The owner didn't give it to you, but nevertheless, it comes from someone that was a gadol. You're getting something that belonged to a gadol, and that from the moment you get it into your hands, you have the responsibility to take care of it, like something that you got from a gadol. But vaha, over here, when it comes to what this Braisa is talking about, when it says ki yiten ish, and the one that gave it to you is a cotton, layasim mekoyach ben das. From the first moment that it came into your possession, it came into your possession from who? From a cotton. And when you get something from a cotton, you don't have that responsibility to safeguard it and to, although the halachas of then, if you deny it, to pay kefil as it applies by a gadol. So if you got it l'chatchila from a cotton, even though later on when it comes to collect it from you, now he's a gadol, it doesn't change. We go according to the status the way it was in the beginning when you got it. So there's no comparison of these two cases. Another halacha regarding this concept of a person that has a pekadon and then denies that he has it. So he said another halacha like this: a person that comes and claims that this pekadon that he has got stolen from him. Right, so he's not going to be chayiv to make a shvuah, or he's not going to be chayiv to pay kefil. There has to be a portion of it that he denies and a portion of it that he admits to. So there has to be something that he's admitting to over here in order that he should be chayiv. Why is this my timer? Because the Makra in this pasuk here, where it speaks about this payment of the kefil and the shvuah, it says ki hu zeh. What is the meaning of these words? He says back to the one that's claiming that you have my item, says to them, no, I only have part of it. Part of it I still have, part of it is gone. Part of it got stolen from me. So it's mashma the pasuk that the whole halacha that applies over here is dafkif is ma'ida b'miktsas. And it's in the parsha of Tayin is Ganav. Says the Gemara, Opliga the Rab Chiya bar Yosef. This halacha that Rab Yechanan here said argues on what Rab Chiya bar Yosef said. Because the Rab Chiya bar Yosef said about the fact that the pasuk uses this expression of Ashiyayim of ki huzeh in this parsha, that really Erov Parshias Kosov Kan. That the Torah is writing two different points and it's mixing it together in one pasuk, but it's really two different parshias. And the chiksev ki huzeh, when the Torah here uses the expression of ki huzeh, al milvahu dichsev. That's written here in connection to a loan. It's not written over here in connection to a pekadon. In other words, there are two different things that are happening in the same pasuk. The pasuk is talking about the halacha of a shomer chinam with a pekadon, and if he denies it, he has to make a shvuah. And if he's found that he lied, he has to pay kefil. That's the parsha of pekadon. And then it throws in the words ki huzeh, which is the parsha of meida b'miktsas. This concept that a meida b'miktsas is chayav to make a shvuah, and only a meida b'miktsas, not if you deny it all. Now that detail, that it's only a meida b'miktsas that's chayav shvuah, and not if you're a kaifer akayl, if you deny it all, that detail does not apply to pekadon. That's only by a loan. By a pekadon, it doesn't make a difference. Even if you deny it all, the same shvuah applies. This is a separate thing of Rashi brings later on in the parsha. It talks about a malveh, and this parsha is mishpatim. Later on in there, it says in kesef talva asami. So these words ki huzeh, the Torah put in here, but it really belongs to be with what it says later regarding the loan. That's what Rav Chiya bar Yosef said. So he argues on Rabbi Yechanan. Now the Gemara explains why logically should there be any reason to make a distinction between a pekadon and a milva. Why would we say that the Torah threw in the same pasuk a different point which is related just to a loan and it doesn't relate to a pekadon? If there's a halacha of meida b'miktsas, that only meida b'miktsas you make a shvuah, and not if you deny it all, why make this distinction? So the Gemara here brings like this. So ma'ishna milva. Why is a loan different than a pekadon kederabba? because we have to see what Rabbi says regarding what's the whole rationale b'chlal behind the shvua of Moed b'miktsas. Rabbi said, why does Torah say Moed b'miktsas hatayna yeshava? That a person that admits some of the claim against him and he denies another part, that he has to swear for this. What's the question here? The question really that Rabbi is asking is, seemingly this person is showing that he's honest. He could have easily denied the entire thing. The fact that he's admitting part of it, so he's returning something that he could have easily denied. Doesn't that show that he's a trustworthy person? So why are we saying that Dafka Moed b'miktsas should make a shvua? And the Kaifer HaKoil, when he denies it all, he's patur of a shvua. How does that distinction make sense? So Rabbi answers, the reason is because chazakeh ein adam meis pana b'fnei b'chayvei. We have an assumption, a chazakeh, that we know that a person does not have the chutzpah to go and to deny a loan that he owes in the face of the person that lent him the money. So therefore, when a person is a kaifer hakoil, that the very fact that he's ready to deny the entire thing is an indication that this is true. Because if it wouldn't be true, if this guy actually lent you money and he did you a favor, this is an important point over here to make this distinction. First of all, he lent you the money, and if you're denying it in his face, he knows that you're lying, and it's hard for a person to deny something to someone that he knows that you're lying about this. And he did you a favor, and in return, you're coming and denying this to him. So therefore, if he denies it all, we have enough reason to believe that this denial is actually true. But over here, though, when it comes to an individual that's Moed b'miktsas, now actually we can't trust him anymore. Because the way we see this is that this individual, really, it's not true what he's saying. He would have loved to deny the whole thing, but the reason why he didn't, why didn't he deny the whole thing? It's because he doesn't have the audacity, he doesn't have the chutzpah to deny the entire thing. He really owes the money. But the fact that he's not denying the whole thing shows that he's afraid to deny the whole thing, because he really does owe it. Okay, but now the Gemara continues and explains, according to Rashi, Rashi doesn't say this here, but in other places Rashi says that what the Gemara here is continuing to explain is, if that's the case, that you're really suspecting him of lying, so then what's the point of having him swear to defend himself, to prove himself, if you're anyway suspecting him of lying? So if he's going to swear, he'll swear falsely as well. You're not going to gain anything by making him swear. So Rabbi goes on and says that no, he's not mamish a liar, that he's not interested in paying. Really, he would be ready to admit it all and pay it back. The only reason why he's denying and he's lying about the b'miktsas and part of the loan, why he's lying about this, is because he doesn't have all the money available to pay right now. So Savar, he thinks to himself, if I'll admit it all, so tavali bekule, he's going to demand of me to pay it all right now, and I don't have the money to pay. So ishtamitli miha hashta, let me avoid paying all of this right now, adahavali zuzi, until I'll have money, parana, and then I'll be able to pay. So but the point is that it's not a person that's intentionally lying about this because he's just a ganav. If in such a case, then there's no point of having him swear. He's a hochsa kafrin, we're assuming that he's a person that's a liar. It's just a person that's avoiding to pay right now. So the Torah says we're going to place upon him this oath that he has to take to say that he doesn't owe the whole thing, that for the part that he denied, and in order to get this person to come forward now to pay the money right now and not to push it off for a different time. Now this is all the explanation of Rabbi, what's the rationale behind Moed b'miktsas. So the Gemara concludes and says, this is all true when it comes to a loan. So Rashi says the pshat over here is, as I said before, because by a loan we make this distinction. By a loan we say, when a person is kaifer hakoil, that itself is the biggest raya that he's saying the truth. Because since this person did you a favor, you would not deny the whole thing in his face to do back such a thing to a person that did you a favor. So that itself is the biggest raya saying the truth. But when it comes to a pekadain, a person is ready to have the chutzpah to deny the whole thing. He didn't do me a favor. I did him a favor. This is the kind of thing that a person would have a chutzpah to deny the whole thing. So the fact that the person is denying it is in no way a proof that he's saying the truth. And therefore he still has to make a shvuah even as a kaifer hakoil. So therefore we go back again, this is the point that Abchir Bar Yosef was saying, Erev Parshas Shanukan, that the Torah is mixing in two different things. There's the halacha of the Pikadon, where you have to make a shvuah, regardless if you made a b'miktsas, and regarding a milveh, you're chayiv to make the shvua only if you're made of mikzas. Because if you're a kaifer hakayel, since the guy did you a favor, once you're a kaifer hakayel, we believe you. Okay, this is Rashi's pshat. There's a very long taisus here. I'll just tell you one point. There's another two pshatim taisus has in the Gemara. One of the pshatim taisus says in the Gemara is the distinction the Gemara is making here between a loan, a milveh, and a pekadain is not exactly cut like the way Rashi says it, loan versus a pekadin. Even when it comes to a pekadin itself, there are two different ways that a person can deny this pekadin. You could either come to the person that gave him the pekadin and say that you never gave it to me, or that I gave it back to you. That's a kind of denial that the person that you're denying it to knows that you're lying about this. He never got it back from you, or he knows that he gave it to you. Then there's another kind of denial by a pekadin. When you say, sorry, a oinus happened, a geneva happened, I don't have it. It's not my fault. I'm only chayav for pshia. In such a case, when you deny and you say that, the person that you're saying this to has no clue whether you're saying the truth or not. He doesn't know what happened to it. So therefore, Taisa says that what the Gemara is saying over here is, when you speak about a loan, or you speak about a certain taina that the person has, even by pekadain, which is similar to a loan, where the person that's claiming this object of you knows that you're lying, as long as he knows that you're lying, we apply the svara that the Gemara says, Ein adam meis panav. You don't have the chutzpah to lie, a person to deny something in such a way that he knows that you're lying. Mashenkin by a pekadain, when you come in taina, like the taina that the Gemara was talking about before, that it got stolen from me, that's the kind of taina that the person has no clue if you're lying or not. That's the kind of thing that a person, even if he denies the whole thing, you're still going to be chayiv to make a shvua, because we have no sign to say that what you're saying over here is true. That's Taisus pshat. In other words, Taisus doesn't hold of this vart that Rashi says that it depends on who's doing who a favor. Are you doing a favor to the person by taking his pekadon, or did he do you a favor? That's the difference here between Rashi and Taisus. Sagt the Gemara weiter, Tani Rami Bachame learned and taught about this same thing, and he held like Rabbi Yechanan. He said, Arba Shemrin, the four Shemrin that it says in the Torah, which the Gemara is going to enumerate in a moment. By all of them, when you have to make a shvua, tzrichin kfira b'miktzas v'ayda b'miktzas. There's only a shvua that applies there if there was a partial denial and a partial admission. There has to be with a maida b'miktzas. And again, we learn it out from like the Gemara said before, because in the same parsha of the shvua of Shemrim, it uses the expression of Asher Yom of Kiyuzeh, which means that he was a maida b'miktzas. The Elohim, what are the four Shemrim? Shem Echinam, person that's keeping something for you for free, or v'ashayel, someone that borrowed it. Noisei Sachar, person that's getting paid for this, or vaseicher, a renter. In all these cases, which the Torah speaks about in this parsha, same halacha. It has to be a maida b'miktzas to be chayav a shvua. So Rava says, my time with Rami Bachame, what's the source of Rami Bachame? Where do we see all the four shemrim? Here in the parsha, where it says this expression of maida b'miktzas, shem b'chinam behad yiksiv bei. Shem b'chinam, that's what the Torah is clearly talking about there, when it says the expression of ki huzeh. Ki huzeh, it's the Torah there speaking about a shem b'chinam. Now, Shem Sachar, Yalif, Nesina Mishem Echinam. The Torah uses the expression of Nesina regarding the Shem Echinam and the same expression of Nesina regarding the Shem Sachar, so we learn them from each other. And Shoyel, then after that, the Torah continues and speaks about a person that borrows, so it uses a Vav. V'chi Yishal, Vav. So because it says that Vav, Maisiv al Inyer Rishain, the parsha of the Shoyel is adding to what it said before, meaning that the halacha of Maida b'miktzas applies to the Shoyel as well. Now, Seicher, a renter, so in the pasuk it says they're a renter, but it doesn't say clearly what the halacha of the renter is. So there's always an argument about how a Seicher pays. What's the level of his responsibility? Either his level of responsibility is like a Shemer Sacha that's getting paid, so then Haina Shemer Sacha, he has the same halacha as the Shemer Sacha, which we already mentioned. Or there's another opinion that says that the Seicher pays like a person that's a Shemer Chinam, Haina Shemer Chinam, so he has the same halacha as a Shemer Chinam. So the point is, he holds that there has to be a maida b'miktzas in order to be chayav a shvua. Another halacha here, V'amar Abchir by Yosef, Hatayin, Tainus Ganav, V'pekadon. A person that claims that the item that he's safeguarding for someone got stolen. Ein chayav at sheyishlach bayad. He's not going to be chayav, kefil, for the shvua that he swore, that it got stolen from him. Then it turns out that he has it. He's not chayav kefil for this unless he himself was shaleach yad, which literally means he stretched out his hand to it. In other words, that he used it for himself. This item that he has, he was supposed to just keep it safe somewhere, and he went and used it for himself. Only if he was shaleach yad, then if he claims that it got stolen and we find that it's not true, then he's going to be chayiv the shvua and he's going to be chayiv to pay kefil. My time, where do we see that there has to be also a shlichus yarer, that you used it? Because when the pasuk in this parsha it says v'nikrav balabayis elo lekim, he comes to the bezdin, and then the pasuk continues and says im lo yishalach yodeh b'melechas re'yehu, and if he did not stretch out his hand to use this item that his friend gave him. Klaus, I see from the language of the pasuk here, the I shalach bayad mechayev, that if he used it for himself, then he's going to be chayev. Lememre the b'shalach bayad askinon. So this pasuk is coming to say that the whole halacha that it says here that you make a shvua on this and you have to pay kefil, that's only if he was shalech bayad. Amaluhu Rab Chiya bar Abba. So Rab Chiya bar Abba said to Rab Chiya bar Yosef, Hachi Amar Rab Yochanan. Rab Yochanan disagreed with this. Rab Yochanan said, no, even if he did not use it for himself. So let's say he has an animal that he's keeping for someone, even if this animal, he's not using it for himself at all. The animal is standing there by the trough, it's eating for its own, and you're not using it for yourself. Still, the halacha of when you swear falsely about the fact that it got stolen applies. It's not dependent on this that you went and used it for yourself. So Rab Chiya bar Abba asked Rab Chiya bar Abba regarding Rab Yechanan's opinion. Maybe what Rab Yochanan meant to say is dafke ba'imedes ala avusa kamar, that this halacha that you chayiv when you make a shvuah that it got stolen from you, maybe this is only if you did not first use it for yourself, only if it's standing there and eating for itself, and you're safeguarding it for the owner. Aval shalach bayad, maybe according to Rab Yochanan, he totally argues with what Rab Chiya bar Yosef said before. In a case where you actually first use it for yourself, then kana. Now you acquired it. What does the Gemara mean by this expression, acquired it? It doesn't mean literally acquired it. What it means is that because you used it for yourself, so now your status changes. Up until this point, you were a shomer, and you were safeguarding it for someone. The moment you use it for yourself, you're not a shomer anymore. You're not doing your job properly, so now you turn into a gazlan. A gazlan, his status changes totally. A shomer, if he's a shomer chinuv, he's only chayiv on a pshia. Now if you're a gazlan, so you have a different status. You're chayiv already on einsim for what you did. So you're kainet, meaning in the level of responsibility that it's already yours to be chayiv already as a gazlan. And therefore, v'shvuah lemahanya beklum. Afterwards, if you make a shvuah that it got stolen from me, that shvuah you won't be chayiv for. You already stole it from before. You're already a gazlan from before that you're chayiv for this. So maybe Rab Yochanan, that is, argues on what Rab Chiya bar Yosef said before, that in a case that you already used it in advance for yourself, later on, if you swear that it got stolen, you're not going to be chayiv for that shvuah. Or maybe I feel maybe Rabbi Yochanan was saying either or, whether you used this animal before for yourself, whether you didn't, either in both cases you'll be chayav for the shvuah when you say that when you're swearing that it got stolen from you. So Rabbi Chiya bar Abba answered, Zulay Shemaiti. I didn't hear clearly from Rabbi Yochanan about this, but Kayetze Shemaiti. I heard something similar. Rabbi Abasi said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Hatoyin Tainus Ovad. Person that claims regarding a pekadon that he has, that it got lost. And then Evanishba, he swears about this, that it got lost. And then later, V'chazav eton Tainus Ganav, he comes back, or maybe in a different bezdin, he comes and claims that it got stolen from him. And Evanishba, and he swears also falsely that it got stolen from him. Ubao Eidim, and Eidim come along to say that he's the one that stole it himself. Potter. So now he's going to be potter for paying the kefil for the second shvuah that he made that it got stolen. First shvuah that he made that it got lost from him, for that you don't pay kefil. Usually you pay kefil when you swear that it got stolen. But over here, because he already swore from before that it got lost from him, so now for the second shvuah that he says that it got stolen from him, you don't pay kefil. Now what's the reason for this? My time, Lav, don't you think the reason is Mishum dekana b'shvuah rishayna? Once he already made the first shvuah that it got lost, and really he has it, so now he's already a gazlan there, and he's going to be chayiv on any einus. And therefore, later on, when he comes to swear that it got stolen from him, over here the halacha of tayin tainus ganav doesn't apply already. Over here, you're already a gazlan from before. So this would say that the same thing applies to the shayla that we had before, that if you used it yourself, you were shalech yad, and you used it yourself before you came to taina and swear falsely that it got stolen from you, you would be pater of kefil, because you already are a gazlan from before. So he answered him and said, no, you can't prove it from that. Over there, that's not the reason, like you just explained it. The reason over there would be different. What is the reason why? If you first swear that it got lost, and then you come back and swear that it got stolen, why don't you pay kefil the second time? You already swore to the owner that I'm pater to pay you because it got lost from me. So now the second shvuah, is a mistake. If you came to a different bezdin, that didn't know that he made the first shvuah, the whole second shvuah is totally a mistake. The second bezdin should have not had you swear the second time. So since the whole second shvuah is a mistake, so therefore you're not going to be chayav to pay kefil for that shvuah. You already swore to the Bailam. You already patted yourself with the first shvuah. The second shvuah is pointless and meaningless. That's the reason why you pat over there, because you're making two shvuahs. But this is not any proof to the shayla that we had before, where you didn't make two shvuahs, where you first used it for yourself, and then you made a shvuah that it got stolen. Maybe over there, Rabbi Yochanan would hold that you still chayav to pay kefil. The Gemara brings with another case where we see Rabbi Yochanan said this, Itmanami Omer Abavin, Omer Rabbi Lo, Omer Rabbi Yochanan, Hatayin Tainas Aveda B'Pikadon, the person that came and claimed regarding the Pikadon that he has, that it got lost, and V'nishpa. And he swears that it got lost. And then then he comes back and claims that it got stolen. And V'nishpan, he swears again. Ubo Edom, and now Edom came and said that he has it. Potter, he's going to be potter of paying kefil. Why? Because he already swore, and he already patted himself with the fact that he swore that it got lost. So now the second shvur that he makes that it got stolen is totally meaningless. So therefore he's going to be potter.
So why does he make that?
Apparently, the case over here is that he came to a different bezdin that didn't know that he made the first shvuah, and they made him make the first shvuah, a second shvuah that is. But it's the whole shvuah really is a mistake. There's no reason for the second shvuah at all. He already patted himself from before.
And
the Chanavi, but the emes is though that it's a mistake. Omer Rav Sheishes said another halacha toyer. This is actually going back to the same thing that we're discussing over here. A case of a person that's holding up a cotton, and he first went and was shaleach yad. He used it for himself, and he's already a gazlan, and then later he comes and tainas that it got stolen from him. So regarding this case, Omer Rav Sheishes hatoyin tainas ganef. Person that comes and claims regarding a pikadon that he has, that it got stolen from him. If he already had used it from before, potter. Then, even though usually when you're tying is gone, if you pay kefil, but in this case you're not going to pay kefil. My timer, why? And he actually learns out from the very same pasuk that the Gemara before Rabchia by Yosef learned out. He learns out from the very same pasuk. He darshans it in the exact opposite. He says, "Look, Hachi Kama Rachmana." This is what the Torah says. V'nikra balabai salah olekim. You come to Bezdin to swear about this that you claim that it got stolen from you. And then the pasuk says, "Im loy shalach yodev v'gaymer." And when does this shvuah and the payment of the kefil apply over here? If you did not use it first yourself. So he understands this, that what it means is that ha shalach yodai, if you already had used it for yourself from before, pater, then you would be pater. The opposite of what Rabchia Yosef dashed before from the very same pasuk that you see from here, that you're swearing regarding the fact that it got stolen from you to be chayav kefil only applies if you yourself had used it for yourself. But he darshans the word im differently. Only if you did not use it for yourself. Then if you claim that it got stolen from you, are you going to be chayav to pay the kefil? Amalei Rav Nachman asks him about this. But v'haloi, didn't we learn as follows? That shalish shvuas mashbiya noisai. A shomer has to actually swear about 3 different things when he comes and denies and says that he doesn't want to pay back this item that he had. He says it got stolen from me, so he actually has to swear about 3 things. What are they? Number 1, shvuah shalei pashati ba. He has to make a shvuah that he wasn't negligent with it. Shvuah shalei shalachti ba yad. He has to make a shvuah that he did not touch it, he did not use it for himself. And then shvuah shayna b'rishusi. Then he also has to swear, I don't have it in my possession. I claim that it got stolen from me, and he has to swear that he doesn't have it in his possession.
Same thing?
Huh? No, it's not the same thing. Peshaiti would mean that he just left it out. He left it in a place where he was negligent about it. Shalachti b'yad is more. It means that he actually used it for himself. Mama should call a gazlan. And then there's a shvuah shayna b'rishusi that I don't have it anymore. So those are the 3 shvuahs that every shomer has to make when he denies. Says the Gemara, my love, don't you think that the fact that it puts these shvuahs together, I compare them. Don't you think like this? Shvuah shaloi shalachti bayad, the shvuah that he makes, that he did not touch it, he didn't use it for himself. Domye, the shvuah shayne b'rishusi. It's similar to the shvuah that he swears that I don't have it in my possession. In what way are they similar? Just like the shvuah that he swears that he doesn't have it in his possession. When it's revealed, if Adam come along and reveal that he does have it in his rishos, chayev, he has to pay kefil for this. Also, this shvuah that he says that I didn't use it myself. When it's revealed that he did use it for himself, and he's claiming he doesn't even have it, and now we see that he does have it, chayiv. He will be chayiv to pay kefil. So we see over here that even though he used it first for himself and he already became a gazlan from before, nevertheless there's still a chiyuv of kefil afterwards when he claims that it got stolen from him. That's what we could compare over here. Amalei, so he answered and said, no, there's no reason to compare it this way. Loi, rather we say like this, Shvuah shalei shalachti bayad, when this shaymis swears that he didn't use this, domye the shalei pashati ba. That shvuah could be compared to the shvuah that he swears that he wasn't negligent about it. Ma shvuah shalei pashati ba, just like when a person swears that he wasn't negligent in his safeguarding this object, ki megalia milsa de pasha ba. If we reveal that he was lying about this and he was negligent about it, patam mikefil. There's no halacha of kefil. The whole halacha of kefil only applies when the person claims that it got stolen from him, and it turns out that he stole it. But if he claims that he wasn't negligent and it turns out that he was negligent, there's no chiyuv of kefil for this. Av shvuah shalei shalachti bayad. So too, if a person swears that I did not use it myself, ki megalia milsa l'shalach bayad. When we reveal the fact that he did use it for himself, patam mikefil. He's going to be pater from kefil. The only case, according to this opinion, according to Rav Sheshes, that'll be chayiv kefil is if the person did not use it at all on his own. He's just claiming that it got stolen from him. That's when you chayiv kefil.